Experiments and inventions. Film was advancing at the rapid pace of many other industries during the inspiring era of the late 19th century. Soon, still captured would become the major productions we know and love today. In 1877, Charles Emile Raynaud invented the first ever film capture machine, which could project images onto a screen called the zoetrope. In 1879, Englishman Edward Muybridge developed sequence photography to analyze movement of humans and animals. This consisted of 12 cameras side by side being set off as the horse ran down the course. Thus, he created the zoopraxiscope, which projected a series of images from a glass disc that turned past the lens of the projector and gave the impression of a moving picture. In 1882, Frenchman Etienne Jules Marais created a photographic gun which carried a glass plate instead of bullets. When the trigger was pulled, a shutter opened simultaneously as the plate rotated. The photographer simply pointed the gun at the object and continued to press the trigger while following the object with the gun. This is the term where to shoot a film comes from. In the 1880s, American George Eastman invented the roll holder, which could be placed on the back of the camera and carry a roll of sensitized paper capable of taking up to 48 photographs. Later, he replaced the paper roll with translucent celluloid film, allowing the development of motion pictures.
In the 1800s, Thomas Alva Edison was the first person to successfully demonstrate moving pictures to the public following the pattern of his phonograph, with pictures recorded on a wax cylinder. He passed on the project to his assistant William K. L. Dickinson, who introduced the celluloid film, creating the kinetoscope. Only one person could view the moving picture through the kinetoscope at a time. Edison's premature films lasted about 20 seconds and were introduced at the Chicago World's Fair in 1893. Kinetoscope parlors were soon established in New York and London and further along across America. Edison and Dickinson opened the first film production studio named the Black Maria in West Orange, New Jersey in 1893. One of their films, Carmencita, was a reason for the first practices of censorship in the moving picture industry. The Spanish dancer's legs and undergarments appeared as she twirled and danced. In 1895, the Lumiere brothers created a camera called the cinematograph that was able to shoot film in one shot on a tripod, around 50 seconds in length. The first public screening was on December 28, 1895 in Paris, and was widely known as the birth of cinema. In June 1894, inventor Charles Francis Jenkins was the first to project a motion picture onto a screen for an audience in Richmond, Indiana. It was also the first film with color, tinted at hand, frame by frame. He used his invention, the phantoscope, to project the images onto the screen. In 1895, Edison's assistant William K. L. Dickinson left to begin his own company, American Mutoscope Company, or AMC, the first and oldest movie company in America. This began the era of larger projections of films and larger studios to produce them in, which led to the popularity of Nickelodeon's movie palaces in Hollywood.
Around 1906, nickel theaters, or Nickelodeons, generated a new audience. Nickel theaters, which primarily showed motion pictures, attracted working-class viewers who could afford the nickel ticket fee. They were popular in major cities and perhaps even more popular than today's movie theaters. Movie theaters and palaces were for the upper middle and upper classes looking for a more extravagant viewing experience.
Rise of film corporations.
Production, distribution, and exhibition were separately controlled until the beginnings of studios such as Paramount Pictures and MGM. Under large studios, profit was increased by controlling every aspect of the motion picture industry.
Marcus Loew of Loew's Inc. was the parent of what eventually became Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. Metro Pictures Corporation was a production company founded in 1916 by Richard A. Rowland and Louis B. Mayer. In 1918, Mayer left his partnership to start up his own production company in 1918 called Louis B. Mayer Pictures. In 1920, Metro Pictures Corporation was purchased by early exhibitor Marcus Loew. Loew merged his Metro-Goldwyn Company with Louis B. Mayer Pictures. Thus, in 1920, the production studio Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer was born, or MGM Studios. Warner Brothers Studios was incorporated by Polish brothers Jack, Harry, Albert, and Sam in the year 1923. The studios later filmed noir productions in the 30s and cartoon Bugs Bunny animations in the 40s led to major success for the studio. In 1916, Adolf Zucker's Famous Players, created in 1912, and Jesse Lasky's feature play merged to form Famous Players Lasky Corporation, which in 1926 became Paramount Studios and later was officially named Paramount Pictures in 1935.
Carl Laemmle, a founder of Universal Studios, started off smaller with his own studio, Independent Moving Pictures. Along the way to his success, he launched many actors' careers. Laemmle lured Florence Lawrence away from a rival studio to Independent Moving Pictures, his own studio. He catapulted her to fame in 1910 by originating the publicity stunt. He cultivated her stardom with a large personal publicity campaign. Florence Lawrence was the very first American movie star. This was the first major movie industry publicity stunt to receive widespread press coverage. Other major stars were Mary Pickford, known as America's Sweetheart, the famed Charlie Chaplin, It Girl Clara Bow, and Douglas Fairbanks. The pioneers of the film industry never could have imagined the firm grasp that pop culture and motion picture has had on us today. From the first zoetrope and still shots arose an aspect in everyday life we could no longer live without. As a society, we are now immersed in the tabloids of stars and engrossed with each new movie that comes into theaters. The innovators of the early 1900s shaped the world of entertainment into its current-day phenomenon, ranging from red carpet to Oscars to paparazzi.